The Honourable Parwinder Kaur.
Thank you, President. Every so often, you meet someone whose passion does not just inspire you, but it actually redefines about some of the things you thought are possible. And recently, I had the privilege of meeting Suzy Urbaniak OAM, the founder of Core Learning Foundation, or in full terms, Center for Resource Excellence. Suzy began her career as a geologist, working deep within Western Australia's resource heartlands before becoming an educator. And when she stepped into the classroom, she asked a very simple but very powerful question. In one of the world's richest resource regions, why aren't our students connected to the very industries that power our state and shape their futures? That question, born of both curiosity and conviction, sparked a movement that has gone on to transform how STEM education is delivered across our state. A movement that began with a single teacher's determination to make science real, relevant, and reachable. Suzy saw that far too many students were disengaged, copying equations from a whiteboard without ever knowing why they mattered. And I do remember myself sitting in the classroom trying to connect to all the equations, and it gets really overwhelming in STEM subjects like physics. Biology is a little bit better, maybe because I enjoyed it a lot, but chemistry and physics were the two subjects I always questioned, that why am I learning all these equations, until I actually went into a lab and put them into practice. So I straight away connected when Suzy explained the model of Core Academy to me, where it's not a traditional classroom where all the students are overwhelmed with the number of complicated equations and a lot of data that goes into trying to explain those, but actually using a model where everybody is engaged and learning by doing. And that creates an environment of problem solving, asking questions, but at the same time, one of the really important ones is it creates an environment where students not just feel engaged, but they feel included and a safe space of learning. And that is the sound of the core learning model, and that is the sound of science being made real to me. Through Core, students step into what Suzy calls the real classroom, out of four walls and into the living world of science. And what better way to do it in the resource sector, working with the industry right here in Western Australia, which is leading globally in many spectrums. This approach is guided by Core's karma model. I always had karma in a very different understanding in my mind, which starts with K, but this karma model starts with C, and C stands for contextual, authentic, relevant, meaningful, and applicable. So that's the karma model that Suzy's Core Academy is using, and it isn't an extracurricular program or an optional club that is run. It is integrated into the curriculum, fully accessible and reportable. And I had an opportunity to not just learn more about their curriculum with Suzy, but also see how they have translated that model to also empower the teachers in the classroom. Because it's not just about empowering the students, but it is also about empowering the teachers and how they can deliver these complicated subject matters into the classrooms. And it really works. And I got two stories that I would like to share with you guys very briefly. The first one is Tara's story. As a teenager, Tara struggled to stay engaged in science, and the formulas on the board meant nothing to her, like many students we come across. But when she joined the core classroom, suddenly science wasn't about memorizing, it was about doing. And she joined the field trips, met geologists, collected rock samples, and began to see the earth through new eyes. Although she struggled with her year 12 exams, something had changed, a spark had been lit. And she went on to become a senior diamond geologist with Fortescue Metals Group, a global expert born from a moment of connection in a core classroom. And the second story I would like to share with you guys is of a First Nations man, Denzel, who changed schools because he didn't feel safe and he didn't feel that he belonged in those classrooms. One day he brought a rock to his new science class, a small act of curiosity that changed his life. His teacher, a core educator, saw his interest and encouraged him to enroll into the academy. Through hands-on learning and mentoring that respected his culture and learning style, Denzel flourished. And you will not believe that he went on to become Curtin University's first Indigenous geology graduate, and today he is the principal Aboriginal Engagement and Heritage Approvals Advisor for Western Power. So two very different journeys, but I think very powerful stories that how we can make science real, inclusive, and empowering. And not just use diversity as a slogan, but actually as a meaningful way to empower people. And today, I'm really excited to share with you guys that Co-Learning Foundation, established only in 2019, operates in 17 schools across Western Australia, engaging over 1,300 students and 56 educators each year. And nationally, its innovative STEM games reach more than 100 schools, providing students with a fun and accessible way to explore science, problem solving, and connect their learning to real careers. And CORE has more than 150 alumni working directly in the resources sector, with many others in research, energy, and technology roles across the state. And many of these young people come from regional Western Australia, from places where opportunities in science once felt far away when Suzy started as an educator. And now these same students are geologists, engineers, land heritage advisors, and environmental scientists, contributing their skills to the industries that drive our economy and sustain our communities. And especially for our southwest regions like Geraldton and Midwest, I think that there is an immense opportunity that is coming our way as the new agreement's been signed to build more value-added jobs in industry out of the critical minerals. The agreement was signed between the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, and President Trump this week. And I think there is a huge opportunity for academies like Core Learning to be scaled up in Western Australia. And I thought I would like to bring it to your attention and give a shout out to Suzy Urbaniak OAM. Thank you.
Are there any